first, I want to get into the All-Star game that happened this past week for the NBA. All-Star break is definitely a great thing. Players get to rest, and the players that do get to go to the All-Star game, they obviously get to have fun and just kind of goof off, really, for as long as the game lasts. And, the celebrity games are always pretty fun and entertaining. The dunk contest this year was pretty good. Max McClung really did a nice job of kind of reinvigorating a little bit of the spirit of the dunk contest this past week. The three-point contest, I'm super happy for Damian Lillard. Those of you who have been watching this channel for a while know that he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. He's one of my favorite players of all time, in fact. He's just fantastic. I love Damian Lillard, so really, really happy to see him win that three-point contest. But the real fun part for me as a Celtics fan this weekend was watching the actual All-Star game and seeing that Jayson Tatum had a fantastic game and ended up taking home the All-Star game MVP. Now, I will say this. I don't think the All-Star game matters at all. I don't think winning an All-Star game MVP matters at all. I don't even really think winning the skills competition, which I didn't even really talk about, or the dunk contest or the three-point contest. I don't even think really any of that matters. I mean, it's cool. It's fun. I'm happy for whoever wins, obviously, because it's a cool thing. You get an awesome trophy. You get to tell your kids about that someday. Like, hey, I won a dunk contest. Hey, I went up against the best shooters in the world in the three-point contest, and I won. That's really awesome, and that's great. And obviously, winning All-Star Game MVPs is nice. But for me, I don't really put much weight on it. I'm not somebody that thinks that if somebody wins All-Star Game MVP that they're now the best player in the league or even that they necessarily, are any different than when they came in to the game. I don't think it really matters, but I will say for Jayson Tatum, I don't think he gets the national respect that he deserves for how good he is. I think he started to get more respect nationally as the years have gone on. But the fact that people still don't consider him to be a superstar at this point, to me as a Celtics fan, is completely laughable. He has been the best player on the best team in basketball, which to me universally should mean you are a superstar in this league. Now, does that mean, as I talked about last week or the week before about generational players, right? Does that mean he's become a generationally good talent? No, not necessarily, but I think that he has to be in the superstar conversation at this point. And no, not just because he won an All-Star Game MVP, but because of the way he has been playing all season long. Now, I know most Celtics fans think Jayson Tatum should win the MVP this year, and obviously my heart wants him to win the MVP this year. However, I do not think that Jayson Tatum has been the most valuable player in the NBA this year. Nikola Jokic has been absolutely dominating once again. Luka Doncic has been just absolutely insane. You look at the statistics, yes, Doncic's stats might be a little bit more empty, as you would say. They don't impact winning as much as Jayson Tatum's does. But 34 points a night, 11 assists or 10 assists or whatever he's averaging, 8.5 rebounds. It's insane what Luka is doing. I wouldn't be shocked if he was ahead of Jayson Tatum in MVP voting. I've been saying it for years that Joel Embiid should win an MVP for how fantastic of a player he is. Now listen, you can say anything you want about the playoffs. There's a reason why it's called regular season MVP, not total season MVP. If you are dominant in the regular season, you should be looked at for MVP, and I'm happy to see that he's kind of climbing up in the rankings. The obvious, one that, I probably would have said was the favorite or one of the favorites pretty much every year to win MVP is Giannis, right? Milwaukee is the second best team in the East right now. And he's their best player. He's absolutely dominant on both ends of the floor. So you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if he won it too. But at the same time, Jayson Tatum being in that MVP conversation, being the best player on the best team in basketball, having value in every facet of the game, ball handling, shooting, scoring just in general, passing, defense, rebounding. He has it all. He's averaging over a steal a night. That's really, really good for a wing. He's not an on-ball guard that's, has a lot of opportunity to guard the point guard all the time and maybe get some on-ball steals. He's still averaging over a steal a night. That's really, really good. He has his hands in everything. So, yes, great for him to win the All-Star Game MVP, and I think that it was important for him to go up against all these fantastic NBA players, even in a meaningless game where nobody really plays defense, and go out there and showcase that, yes, I am among the very, very top cream of the crop players in the NBA. Even amongst all of these fantastic players, all of these superstars, all of these generationally good players like LeBron James, like Giannis, right? All these guys, I can still stand out above the rest. And I think that was really important on a national scale for him to show that. Now, do I think that's going to sway or even should sway MVP voting? No, I don't think it should, and I don't think it will. But as a Celtics fan, it was nice. It was nice to see him going out there and getting that award and getting that recognition and showing the world on that stage how talented he is. Jaylen Brown also went out there with a mask on and showed how good he is versus all of those All-Stars. So for me, as a Celtics fan, it was lovely, lovely, lovely to watch the All-Star game and to see how it played out. And also, you know what? I know how close, or at least I have a general idea, how close Jayson Tatum and Kobe Bryant were to each other when Kobe was alive. And so the fact that Jayson Tatum got to win the Kobe Bryant Award for winning MVP in the All-Star game is wonderful to me. I think that it's absolutely great. I know how much, or at least again, I have a general idea of how much that meant to Jayson Tatum to kind of see that and to win that award, knowing whose name that award was attached to. So, summarization here, it was good. It was fun to watch. It was fun to see Jayson Tatum go out there and really show out, and Jaylen Brown for that matter as well. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with it, and I hope that, and again, not just the All-Star game, but I hope that this season will finally put the people who are saying Jayson Tatum is not an MVP candidate to rest. Now, I do want to say this. It's gotten ridiculous now, and I think that somebody needs to say something about this, because I'm not sure how much longer I can hold it in, and obviously not much longer, because I'm going to say it right now. A few weeks ago, there was, I don't remember what show it was. It might have been First Things First, or something like that. It was a morning show, and they talked about who may or may not be MVP right now, or not MVP, who may or may not be a superstar right now in the NBA. And they gave 3 players in the NBA who they were like, they might be right there at this point. Those 3 players were Nikola Jokic, which I find just hysterical that that's even a conversation, Jayson Tatum, and Ja Morant. Those are the 3 guys that they put up on this show. They said that Jayson Tatum was not a superstar. Nope, not a superstar. Despite being the best player on the best team, not a superstar. Nikola Jokic, maybe a superstar. What do you mean, maybe? Of course he is. He's a 2-time MVP, back-to-back, and he's probably going to win a 3rd this year. And the Nuggets are the 2nd best team in the NBA right now, so you can't even say that his stats are empty. He's impacting winning now. So there's no debate in my mind, he is a superstar. And yet they said Ja Morant was unequivocally, no doubt, a superstar. And I lost it. Because listen, I like Ja Morant as a player. I do. He's a good player. He's a lot of fun to watch. You never know, at any moment he could just lift off and throw down a massive dunk right on somebody's grill. And it's fun to watch. And he's a flashy player. The Grizzlies are they've become probably the most hated team in the NBA just because of how chippy they are. And, in a lot of ways, I love it. I love that style of basketball. But Ja Morant has not done anything in the NBA to warrant being a superstar. Nothing. He's not in the MVP conversation as far as I can tell. Nor should he be, with all of the other talent that is playing better than he is right now. He's a non-factor on the defensive end. So there's that. And his stats are mostly empty. Now, this year, the Grizzlies are performing a little bit better than they have in the past. But if you remember last year, the Grizzlies had a better winning percentage without Ja Morant than they did with him. So, for me, he has a lot more to prove to be a superstar. But he, they say that he's a superstar because he's flashy, because he dunks on people, because he, a whole bunch of other reasons that I don't understand. And yet Jayson Tatum, who has gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, 3-4 times now, despite the fact that he's only 24? He's averaging over 30 points a night. He's averaging 9 rebounds a night. He's upped his assists average per night to about 4.5. He's a fantastic defensive player as well. And again, his team is the best team in the NBA, despite having a crudload of injuries all season long that have impacted their performance. I hate to break it to you guys that are sitting here thinking that the Celtics, their record is better than their talent. They haven't been healthy all year. At least not fully. For the first month or two of the year, 6 weeks of the year, we didn't have Robert Williams, who somehow is third in the NBA. The last time I looked, for Defensive Player of the Year voting, I don't know how that's possible since he was out for 6 weeks. Again, I would love to see that as a Celtics fan. It would make my heart feel nice, but I just don't think that makes any sense. I'm just going to be honest with all my Celtics fans out there. If you are out for 6 weeks, you should not be third in Defensive Player of the Year voting at the All-Star break. You just shouldn't. I'm sorry. Hate to break it to you. That shouldn't be the case. But at the same time, if we're going to take it at face value, the guy who's third in Defensive Player of the Year voting right now, we did not have for 6 weeks. And then Marcus Smart got injured, and he just came back the game before the All-Star break. Jaylen Brown broke a bone in his face, and he's kind of been in and out of the lineup. Not just because of that. That's why he hasn't played the last few games, but he's been in and out of the lineup with other ailments and everything like that. Malcolm Brogdon's been in and out of the lineup. Al Horford's been in and out of the lineup. There's been a ton of different injuries that the Celtics have had to deal with. Heck, they lost in overtime to the Bucks in Milwaukee despite having no Jayson Tatum, no Jaylen Brown, no Al Horford, no Marcus Smart. That's 4 of your starters. And yet, they still found a way to make it competitive. The fact that they didn't win that game is wildly irrelevant because they still went out there with a skeleton crew, essentially, and took it to the second best team in the East. Now, obviously, I don't think that has any implication on the playoffs at all. There's people that are on Twitter overreacting in either direction. Oh, the Celtics lost in overtime to the Bucks. They are the worst team in the East, and they're going to get killed in the playoffs. No, they didn't have their 4 starters. Oh, well, Milwaukee, they could barely beat the Celtics B team, so they're going to lose by 190 points to the A team. No, that's not true either. Let's all calm down. Let's all kind of get towards the middle, which is good for the Celtics. It was a nice morale boost, but we know what Milwaukee has. We know what they're going to bring to the table come playoff time. They're going to be tough. They're going to be brutal. On the defensive end, they're going to be very stout. Brook Lopez in the middle. Jay Crowder's a great defender. Obviously, Giannis, Drew Holiday is an absolute dog. And then Grayson Allen's not a good defender, but fine. He can be in there too. And Chris Middleton didn't even say Chris Middleton. I don't really know what his health situation is. I know he came back for like 2 games and then went right back to being injured and then kind of came back, but I think he's injured again. I don't even know anymore. I can't keep up. But if he's healthy, he's a former All-Star too. So, he'll be tough to deal with. So we know what Milwaukee's going to bring in the playoffs. But the point of all this that I'm trying to say is, for me, Jayson Tatum is a superstar. I know I kind of got way far away from that. Jayson Tatum is a superstar. And the Boston Celtics are the best team in the NBA right now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season rolls around. And I just cannot wait to see how far the Celtics can go and how far Jayson Tatum will take us in the playoffs.
Hey guys, me again. Thank you so much for watching one of my clips from the Lopes Goes Last podcast. These clips are so much fun to do. I absolutely love making them and I absolutely love doing them. And this podcast is my baby. So I really want this thing to grow and I really want it to succeed. So if you did like what you see, please subscribe. Also hit that bell notification so you never miss any one of my episodes or one of my clips like this one. And please do also like and share these videos with your friends and your family so that we can make this thing grow as fast as possible. And I wanted to thank you again so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a great rest of your day.